To disassemble and reassemble your Nokia Lumia 900, you will need a small Phillips screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, a plastic separation tool of some kind, your SIM tray removal tool, and a T5 Torx star type screwdriver. You'll also need a sucker tool of some kind. This is from a Nokia windscreen mount, or you could use a sat-nav or a fridge one. So make sure the phone's switched off and start by removing the SIM tray using your SIM tray tool, and put that aside. Now, using your tweezers, we need to remove this plastic cover just here and put that on there. So we put that back a little bit later, and using a SIM tray tool or a small screwdriver, insert it in this hole and lift this pin up. Take note the little tag points down towards the groove there, so pull that all the way out and put that aside. Now we can lift the screen. So place your sucker tool onto the screen and try and lift the screen away from this edge. So lift it up and that'll come away. If you don't have a sucker tool, you can use a plastic pry tool to lift up the screen, but it might leave some marks on the edge of the case. So don't open the screen up too far. Put your tool aside. So the ribbon cables are preventing this from opening up at the moment. Just come round to the other side and lift the screen out, and you'll find that will open up. Now we need to undo 3 Phillips screws. They are marked with a little Phillips screw icon on the frame here. So undo these. And there's one just at the bottom corner here. Now using your T5 screwdriver, undo the 7 T5 screws. These are all the same size, so no worries about getting them mixed up. Now the battery cover is held on with a double-sided strip of tape down here. So get this nice and warm with a fan heater or hairdryer, and insert your separation tool here and keep pushing it in, and it will gradually separate the battery from the battery cover. Once it's separated, that will open up. Here you can see the black adhesive that was holding it on. Put that aside. Before we unplug the screen, it's a good idea to disconnect and remove the battery. So lift this battery plug up using your separation tool. Now we can remove the battery. So get the case nice and warm on the back, and it's got 3 pieces of double-sided tape holding it in. Starting from the top or the bottom, try and lever the battery up, and it will gradually come unstuck. Be careful not to bend the metal casing when you take the battery out. So if I lift the double-sided tape away, you can see the model number and the capacity. I'll put that aside. Now we can disconnect the screen. So using your separation tool, disconnect the ribbon connector for the screen and the touch keys at the bottom. There's your screen assembly. Now we need to remove some small rubber gaskets. This one's for the earpiece, so lift that and put that aside. There's the microphone gasket at the bottom here, so lift that up and put that somewhere safe. And finally there's a small little gasket here, which I'll put back later. Now we can disconnect the ribbon cable for the keys. And to lift the main board out, there's a small clip just here. So lift the main board up and using your fingers, so you lift that out and just give it a little movement as you bring it out. Now be careful, because sometimes the rubber gaskets will fall off. This one's for the micro USB and this one's for the camera. Be careful around these metal pins here, as the previous owners broken the pin off for the LED flash. If you need to replace your earpiece, then start by pushing the metal pin out this side and then lifting the metal casing up, and that comes out from the rubber housing, and it's held in with double-sided tape, so you can lift it out. And when you put your new one back in again, make sure the large pins go down this end of the casing and the small pins up at this end. So to replace the earpiece, push that into the rubber casing there, making sure that lines up, and that push back into place. So this is your vibrating module and connections for one of the antennas. The camera can be replaced by using a Nokia tool that releases the clips. More connections for antennas around the outside edge. This is the main microphone. If you're recovering from water damage, make sure there's no water in that hole, and that is a moisture indicator just there. If you want to disassemble the rest of the case, it's a good idea to place some tape over the keys. This will stop them falling out when you remove the frame. This metal frame is held in with an adhesive which can be softened by getting it nice and hot. Before we do that, it's a good idea to remove the LED flash. It's held in with double-sided tape, and take note that the flat corners go towards the centre of the phone. So using a hot air paint stripper or a fan heater or hairdryer, get the case nice and hot and insert a blade at the bottom here and keep working it along to separate the adhesive. Be careful not to damage this ribbon cable, and come in here and again keep separating the frame, and if it's nice and hot it does separate reasonably easy. Keep pushing up towards the top and pushing up at the top here, and eventually it will come away. So you can see it's got an adhesive running along most of this chassis here. This is your volume switches and your power switch. This is a voltage regulator that uses the metal frame as a heatsink, and there's your two-stage camera button. To remove the speaker and GSM antenna housing, we need to remove this plastic antenna housing here. So get this side nice and hot with your heater, and then lift that out, and this one came away quite easy when I was using hot air. This contains two large antennas which could be for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and a small one at the top here. Now using the heat again, get this nice and hot, and you can pull the speaker housing down from the bottom, and once you've done that you can remove that. So there's your loudspeaker and your connections, and that's the 3G GSM antenna. If you need to replace your headphone socket, then get the top of the phone nice and hot, and using your plastic tool just put that in and separate the frame as much as you can, and then keeping it hot, push the socket down and that will release from the frame. So to replace the headphone socket, we need to lift this ribbon cable up. So starting from behind, if you push in there, and then separate that ribbon so it's not stuck down any longer, and then open this up gently, and you can remove the headphone socket. So take your replacement, offer that back in, and make sure that the ribbon cable lines up with the small hole in the casing. Give that a good push down, make sure it's stuck in place, and the headphone surround will come out if you just push that down. It comes out. And finally this antenna, get it nice and hot, and that'll pull out. It's just held on with a little bit of adhesive. If you need to switch the keys over to a new case, they have a flat corner. So there's a flat corner there that lines up with a little pin on the case, and the same with this one. It's got a little flat corner, and again on the camera key there's a little flat corner, so you can't get them in the wrong way around. So to reassemble, start by placing that small antenna back into the corner, and take your headphone assembly and your headphone surround and place that back onto the headphone socket until it sits down in place, and then put this end in first, slide that up and make sure the surround comes through and is flush with the top of the case. Now we can replace the speaker assembly. Let's place that this way around and slide that down into the bottom. Then the antenna housing, make sure the small antenna goes up near the headphone socket, and slide that back into place. Once you're happy they're all in place, we can put the metal chassis back in. Start by lining up the keys, and then bring that down, and that slides into the frame. Make sure the keys feel like they're working okay. Now we can replace the LED flash. So place that in and make sure that the corners go towards the centre of the phone, and push down to make sure that's stuck down. Now we can replace the main board. Before we do that, we want to put the secondary camera back into place. So plug that in and place that sticky pad. Give that a gentle push. Now we can replace the micro USB rubber gasket, placing the long part down the back here, and the camera gasket, place that into the case, make sure that sits nice and central. Now offer the main board into the top, gently pushing it down, and just slowly bring that down into place, making sure you don't trap this ribbon connector. And bring that down, and make sure that this screw post here comes through the main board, like so. Once you're happy that's done, we can reconnect the key ribbon, and need to replace those rubber gaskets. This is the earpiece gasket, so have it round this way and place that into the frame. Just give it a gentle push into place, and once that's in, it should line up with the hole for the earpiece there. Then come down to the bottom and replace the microphone gasket. So make sure the hole goes towards the bottom, and place that over the microphone. Just move that around to make sure it's sitting down nice and flat. And finally, there's the loudspeaker gasket. Just place that so the large part goes into the bottom. That helps prevent dust getting into the casing there. Now we can replace the battery. So place the battery into the case, and watch out for these metal bits on the battery. They tend to catch when you're pushing it in. So this one's caught just there, so make sure you push down, make sure there's no parts of the metal that are being trapped. Same on this side, make sure that the battery's pushed all the way down and the metal casing's not catching on the edge. Just run your plastic tool down the side there. Once you're happy that's fully down, we can reconnect the screen. Start with the main ribbon connector and plug that back in, and then you touch key ribbon. Can be a little bit tricky, this one. That's gone in. Now you can reconnect the battery, so place that and plug that back in. Now before we put the battery cover on, it's a good idea to make sure that everything is working. So place the screen into the casing and don't push it shut yet, and we'll switch it on. And we're going to go into the diagnostics application by going hash 634 hash, and we'll make sure everything's working before we put the battery cover on. So run all tests. This is the white test, black test, red, green and blue. So it's passed that one. Vibration test. Yeah, that's definitely working. So let's pass that test. The LED keypad control. It's these keys at the bottom, which you can see are working. And the camera flash won't work at the moment because the little clip's broken. So I'll pass that one. And the audio loopback, if we go for loudspeaker, yeah, that's working fine. And if you use the earpiece, when you speak into the microphone, you can hear it coming out of the earpiece. If you have a headset plugged in and you start the loopback test, then you can hear your voice coming back through the headset, and you can choose left or right. so I'll pass that one. At the camera test, you can just take a picture by touching the screen, and I'll accept that, and I'll pass that. This is the hardware button test, so every time I press a button it registers that it's working. And the start, the search, and the back. So that's passed. DTMF tones, that's from the earpiece, and this is from the loudspeaker. That's passed. This is just testing the touchscreen is working okay. Past that. And the headphones, make sure that that's working okay. Yep, that's okay. Past that. And this is the light sensor at the top here, so as I cover it up it goes dark, and as I open it up it goes bright. So that's working okay. Speaker test, definitely working. And the proximity sensor, when I hold my hand in front, it's because the screen's not quite shut. So that's working fine. Past that. And this is your compass, as you can see that's working okay. And the power source, so I plug a USB charger in. That should change to a different icon. There we go. So that's done. And this is your accelerometer. As you can see that's working okay. And that's passed all the tests, apart from the LED on the camera. So once you're happy that everything's working, turn the phone off and lift the screen from the case and open that up, and now we can replace the battery cover. So start by having it round this way and line up these little 3 clips with the chassis. Make sure that they line up, that they go down into place, and if the screw holes line up, push the case down, and we can replace those 3 Phillips screws. So one goes up the top here, just finger tight. The second one goes in this one, and the final one goes down the bottom corner here. Now we can replace the T5 screws. Just remember to only do them up finger tight. reinsert the screen on this side, making sure it's nice and flush, and push the screen down into place. Remove your tape, and now we can replace that long pin. So make sure you insert that into here, and if it doesn't want to go down, squeeze the screen together and you'll find it goes in nice and easy. Just push that all the way in until it's flush with the case, then replace that little plastic cover. Place your SIM tray, and there you have a fully restored phone. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and give me the thumbs up, and I'll do my best to make some more.